Next item is number 3, public comments on items not on the agenda. My understanding from the city clerk, we do have some speaker cards, and if you could call them up to the podium.
We have 4 speaker cards currently, so I will call up each member in a queue. So if you could just line up in order of the names as I call them. We have John Barrelier, Sandra Perez Vargas, Bill Ruggiero, and Rich Fern.
Hi, I'm John Barrelier. I've lived in San Bruno for a long time. I'm living in Belmont right now, but I've got a history here. Sometimes things are right in front of us and we don't notice them. I was coming to the Senior Citizen Center for about 3 or 4 years before I noticed there was a woman who taught exercise, and she was extraordinary. I asked her friend, Joe, how long she's been doing this. She's been doing it for 30 years. She's a volunteer. She could use a job. In pursuit of prying some money loose from you, I requested some things from the San Bruno City Council. The information is incomplete. I requested salaries, donations, as far as homes, that's real estate, vehicles, and the cost of sending a fire truck shopping with 3 men over the course of 1 year and 1 time. I've requested the bingo income for 2018. I noticed tonight that we have a very full agenda, and I don't want to clog it with something more than the 3 minutes I have, but I'll come next meeting and confuse you further, enlighten you. You'll be uncomfortable. It will be embarrassing. But I have much more to say about this situation. As embarrassing as that short curtain there, which you didn't notice. That's a story in itself. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker, please. Please, let's let the speakers speak without interruption from the audience. Next speaker, please.
Sandra Perez Vargas, followed by Bill Ruggiero.
Thank you. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. My comments are about our parking situation down on Huntington Avenue where the Public City Works are. I understand that there's a plan to get permit parking possibly for the employees. Although residents have been asking for parking permits, I thought it was interesting that that would be a preference first. I don't think we need parking permits for the employees because that whole Huntington area from San Felipe on, most of the cars that are taking up the parking are commercial vehicles that are illegally parked, boats, trailers that aren't hitched. So I think if the police were to come around constantly, clear out those cars, the employees would have plenty of parking. And I believe that's also true through most of our residential areas, where when the police see commercial vehicles or anything illegal, instead of waiting for residents to call, that they automatically tag them, move them on, and we'll have more parking. Because as you know, the new apartment building on San Mateo Avenue in El Camino, the minimum parking requirements were waived by parts of City Council and the former mayor. So now that that's opened up, we are dealing with many more congestion issues. We're getting a lot more cars on the street. So if the police could really step up enforcement on that, it would help the rest of us, and I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker, please.
Bill Ruggiero, followed by Rich Fenn.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. There's nothing on the agenda, but I have 2 items I want to call to your attention. One, I believe everybody would approve and support responsible development of commercial and residential properties in San Bruno. We need to make projects that make sense work. We need a mix of staff and citizen input on development projects. Therefore, I am requesting that you amend the current 600 feet notification area. It needs to be expanded. It is my opinion that notices of meetings of developments along the transit corridor plan projects need to go out to all property owners in San Bruno. We need to be able to create win-win situations for future housing and commercial developments. Proactively engaging residents will expedite this process. 2, at meetings when developers and staff have unlimited time to discuss their present projects and present their projects, residents should not be limited to 3 minutes. At a time when staff is pushing development projects forward, you need to find a way to allow residents to articulate their responses, and 3 minutes is just not enough time. You need to find a balance of time for developer and residents to respectfully present their information. I believe each of you care about our city and have a passion for its future success. Your actions should always support that. The motto of San Bruno is the city with a heart. I would like you to show that through your actions. Otherwise, change our motto to the city with a heart, as long as you can express it in under 3 minutes.
Thank you for your comment. Next speaker, please. Okay, let's refrain from the applause, please, so we can hear our speakers. Thank you very much.
Rich Fern, followed by Geraldine Nova.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I just wanted to express a little thing about public parking again. I've been a resident here for over 30 years, and the other day, I have a fire hydrant right in front of my house, dead center of my house. And I know it's been great that the city's been making everybody park the right way, and that's really good because safety, big safety concern. But the big concern that I have is the fire hydrants there, none of them are painted red anywhere in San Bruno at all. Okay, so someone that's visiting our city, they may park near a fire hydrant, and they might get a ticket, so it's not really very welcome for people there. So maybe we might think about painting the fire hydrants red, because I went down and talked to Public Works and I asked them about it, and it says that supposedly the ordinance is 15 feet. Well, my property is only 50 feet wide, and if I had to be 15 feet on the other side of the fire hydrant, I'm not sure exactly how it's going to work. So maybe we could think about it and talk to the police department about, the fire hydrants, because we need them. But maybe we should paint the curves red so people know where they can and cannot park. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker, please.
Geraldine Nova, followed by Nova Midwinter.
And if you folks, when you hear your names, if you don't mind lining up, it'll help us. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Geraldine Moran. I'm here this evening to talk to you about the urgency of the climate crisis right now. The city of San Bruno has opportunities to make a difference. I grew up here on the peninsula, and back in the 60s, things have changed quite a bit. I'm worried about my grandchildren's future and all the young people that are coming up. My background is in wildlife biology. I worry about all forms of life, but we have the power. Cities can do so much with building codes and energy efficiency. So just to keep it short, I'm very concerned, and I hope you are too, and I know you have the power to do a lot of really good things. So I urge you tonight to be open-minded to the possibilities and to consider being a leader as a city entity on this peninsula on climate mitigation. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for your comments. Next speakers.
Nova Midwinter, followed by Alexander Lee.
Again, when you hear your name, if you don't mind coming up near the podium, it would be appreciated.
Hello, my name is Nova Midwinter. I'm 15 years old, and I'd like to express my general concern for the ongoing climate crisis, specifically in our city and also in California and the world at large. Climate change has been an issue for many, many years, and it's been only very recent that we've begun to address it, and I think it's really important that we make this a top priority in things like building codes and legislation and just our everyday lives, because it is going to directly affect the next generation, specifically my generation, my kids, my grandkids, and whether or not they can live good lives. Like, I don't know, climate change has already caused many natural disasters that specifically affected people I know and their families. It causes droughts and wildfires, which makes the air hard to breathe. Like in my school district, for a week, we had to wear masks outside because of a forest fire, which made the air like unbreathable normally. Like friends of mine with asthma were in serious danger, and I just think it's really important that we keep the climate in mind and pay close attention to it and monitor it and keep it like in our thoughts when we're choosing legislation and just living our lives in general. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker, please.
Alexandra Lee, followed by Xiomara Cisneros.
Thank you. Start
Hi.
forward. Thank you.
My name is Alexandra Lee, and I'm going to be a senior. And so, as the last two speakers talked about, I want to talk about the climate crisis that we are currently in. So, global CO2 levels have reached the highest they ever have in human history, and greenhouse gases in the atmosphere cause so many different problems. And it's easy to imagine that the climate crisis is in the future and it's not something that affects us now, but this is not true. It's happening right now, and it has a multitude of effects at both the global and the local level. For instance, the record-breaking wildfires in California last night drastically affected our lives. There were almost 1 million public school students who didn't go to school for a day, including right here at San Bruno Elementary School. And these wildfires are just the start. There have been more droughts that we also experienced, rising global temperatures, rising sea levels, melting ice, a whole range of effects at both the global and the local level. But luckily, there are things that we can do. And one of these things that I want you to consider right now is building reach codes. So building reach codes are an opportunity for cities to develop all-electric, carbon-free buildings that make our buildings both safer, healthier, and more affordable. And they also protect against the dangers and uncertainty of natural gas. There are currently 15 cities working with Peninsula Clean Energy and Silicon Valley Energy and other consultants to develop reach codes for the California, to sync with the statewide California Title 24 codes in 2020. And so, as an opportunity to tour in an all-electric house, Project Green Home in Palo Alto is hosting a party on July 20th to celebrate 100,000 miles that we've given away from our free curbside charger. And this will have an opportunity to tour this all-electric, carbon-neutral, LEED Platinum Plus certified house, as well as test drive an electric vehicle and try cooking on an induction stove, which is often a barrier that people think about before going all-electric. So I strongly urge you to be a part of all of these other cities that are already considering reach codes and prioritize climate action and develop the adoption of these reach codes by September. Thank you, and I'm going to give these invitations to the clerk.
Thank you for that. And yes, you could hand them over to the clerk. Next speaker, please.
Xiomara Cisneros.
Oh, if you could just do that for 6A, please. Thank you. Okay, I'm being told by the clerk that's it for speaker cards for items that are not on the agenda. Is there anyone else? Please show your hand so I can see you if you want to speak on an item that's not on this agenda this evening. Okay.